This video is called Open to Corruption, and an extremely important video that through this case I've learned how if I was a corrupted plumber or corrupted solicitor, how would you be able to use the badly constructed legal system to your advantage to be able to exploit whoever is involved, basically the claimant or plaintiff. Just looking at the system itself, generally, say for example in personal injury cases, one of the most important infrastructure that a solicitor built is to take it to court and basically put in your pleadings, and then followed by the next very important thing, which would be expert witnesses reports and a few others, but I'm going to say basically the main infrastructure is built around that. Well, pleadings consist of, you in our case, say for example, you're going to the court and pleading to it. The reason why you want to sue somebody is for this and that reason, And where I found the way solicitors behave is that, like in our case, they won't accept saying that the washing machine was 30 feet. They would try to bring it down to 10 feet, 20 foot, whatever, except 30 feet, because their excuse is they would have to argue in court and have to prove that the machines were up 30 feet. Even though they can obtain the evidence from the police, the photos and whatnot, they won't have it. They would want it to be much lower. So that is another obstacle, whether, in our case, that you're going to stand there arguing with this solicitor in the early stages and make enemies out of him, which you don't. So you will go along and agree with 20 foot, 10 foot, 5 foot, whatever it is. In our case, I think, God knows what he puts down. So this is where I'm coming to, where I see the massive holes of corruption occurs. The reason why I say that, because most pleadings are put in, say for example, in a document like this, and what they will do is, you find that they will never ever get it right the first time, believe me. This is how they make their dosh, They will go out to make their pleadings wrong, and you will have to mend it many times, And generally, like when pleadings are served, you get a document like this, and they would put a little cardboard piece at the corner here and staple it, right? And that is supposed to be like, basically, the whole file is supposed to be in one. But because they never ever get it right the first time, so you're going to amend your pleadings many, many times. And eventually, you'll finally get a pleading that you may agree to, may not even agree to, but you have to put it forward. Because it could go on forever, and all the time they're amending it is causing you money and dosh. And this is how they make their money. True, because they're very, very stupid people and shouldn't be doing that job. Right, and anyway, one of the biggest problems I see is that you sign at the end of the document. At the end of all this document, you will sign the last page saying that you agree to what this document consists of. To me, that itself, if you could trust a solicitor, that will be fantastic. But from what my experience of them, I wouldn't trust none of them as far as I can see them. So basically, to have a document to sign at the end of it that you agreed to what is in it, to me, that is a load of bulls and should be absolutely illegal completely. because we can't trust solicitors. Get that into our thick heads, we can't trust them. So basically, each page, I believe, should be signed by the claimant to say that he's read it. Each single page. And the way, that I don't trust them so much now that I don't think you can even trust them not having the ability to get somebody to forge your signature. The way the world is going today, I believe that you might even need a damn thumbprint on it to say that it's yours, and at the end of the day, you think, you got me worrying, giving them your thumbprint. But there again, if you go in your office, you drink their cup of tea, you touch their tables, they will got your thumbprint anyway, So better to go down that road to say not only each single page has to be signed by you. Probably in the future you may even have to put a thumbprint, as they undermine that situation. As you pass that law, they would find some of the best forgers in the world to be able to forge your signature to get this extra page in, and you'll be wondering why. The reason why is because at the end of the day, by the time you compile the expert witnesses and your pleadings and everything, the between the judges and the insurance company, they will assess between your pleadings and expert witnesses and whatever what the case is worth. So now you're starting to understand why the pleadings are very important, and so is the expert witnesses report, because one line in a pleading, one line in a report could cost you hundreds of thousands or even millions, So you can see now why a solicitor should never get away with this, where they can, undermine and changing lines without you knowing that is handed into the court. Because what they hand into the court and what they send to you may not be the same thing, because the only way you're going to know what they are handing into the court is if you can get hold of the real documents that they present to the court. And you'll never be able to obtain that until you go to court, and they will try every way to keep your case out of the court if it's a very severe case. And you'll be wondering how could they tamper with a document after you sign the end of it, saying that you agree to it all, Number one, for example, I don't believe that the court will open the tip that is got this cardboard on it to see is there two staple marks on it, where they've put an extra bit of document in that they've changed. And basically, in my case, they've messed up the pleadings and they've messed up the the statements so often that we end up at times just signing reading the documents on the table, and it just got just hot off the press by the secretary and signed the last page for them, so it's taken away to be stapled together. That's why. And another thing I need to add, for a claimant to sign a document in 20 minutes after they read it, I believe that should be legal and all. I think they need at least 24 hours to 48 hours to read a document properly before they sign it. So I think that should be the law, the system. It should be in the CPR rules saying that they should have at least 48 hours. I think when a case is so major that people's life and a lot of money depend on it, that's how it should be if you want a decent legal system. Now we get on to expert witness report. I'm sure that I've got a little part of some of my expert witness report. So in other words, what I'm saying is they can withhold the real expert witness report and give you a tiny little bit of it that they want you to know about. and there's another one that you don't have to sign the end of it. But I believe you should. I believe all expert witness report should have a little bit at the bottom for the claimant to sign, to say that he's read all of that expert witness report, because that is another massive hole there that is absolutely open for corruption. Because to me, to be able to send you half a report and retain the other half is very, very dangerous, and it can easily be done because you don't sign an expert witness report at all, and there's nothing to say that you've read the whole expert witness report. So that itself tells you, push, you can take the whole damn lot and throw it in the damn bin, So I believe all expert witness reports should have a little piece at the bottom saying that the claimant has got to sign and say that he's read it. Probably in the future, once they learn to copy your signature, even put a thumbprint to that. So as far as I'm concerned, the expert witness report is not worth the paper it's printed on. My wife had been sent a statement saying that the whole lot has collated to 400,000. Remember that, 400,000. Expert reports, averaging, around, but I think they basically was charging 33,000 for each expert, and she's had like 1, 2, 3, 4. We only asked for one. Believe me, we only asked for one. That to say that whatever the national health clinical psychologists and neuropsychologists said there was a problem. We only needed one expert report to verify that it was correct. The solicitors just don't want to know. They will go ahead. They won't take a word of your instructions, so they want you to pay for it. The court will make you pay for it, but they're not interested in your instruction. My instructions being just one, and it's in down on paper. I asked for a neuropsychiatrist report, to verify the reports of the NHS. They don't understand the meaning, right, of your instructions. Don't understand meaning of it all, and they can send you this, the fees of 400,000. These people are extremely sick. We are dealing with the devil himself. When I told my solicitor, the NHS consultant that was in charge of the mental health area of Edmonton is also an expert witness, registered as an expert witness, and I said we can get his report, and my solicitor's answer was, I don't know him. We don't know him. Why on earth does a solicitor need to know an expert witness before getting a report of him? Is there some sort of deal that they're making, a little backhander if we give you the job? We suddenly don't want any corrupted expert witness report. We just want the truth, right? So it doesn't matter to us which expert witness we get. We sooner pick one out of the hat rather than one of the solicitor's hat, because as far as I'm concerned, the damn buggers are corrupted. So he said he doesn't want this NHS expert that was dealing with my wife's case because he doesn't know him. Why does the solicitor have to know an expert witness before he has his report? Why? At present, I'm trying to find a efficient way of publishing these reports and all this amount of money that they collated to this 400,000, because so far I wasn't happy with what I managed to create with my webcam. So I've got to think of another way of doing it, and I will come out with it soon. I have done it in the past, which we put it in a file that was on another link, but I wanted to be able to do it on the movie, but to have the original there, but I'll have to think of something. But as for the experts are concerned, this 3,000, we were interviewed for an hour, And some of these reports, consist of a bloody 2 to 5 pages, and one of them might be 6 or 7, but 3 grand, And are they paying tax on this, I wonder, because some of them are working for the NHS still, And this is another thing we need to, I want to publish it, and I'm wondering, does the taxman get his dosh, basically, because these people are earning huge amount of money, and it is, to me, it stinks, basically. The whole thing stinks. When I look at the letters that I've got from my first solicitor, it was a massive pile, because he was giving me letters from the defendants and letters from himself. The second solicitor called on that he's not going to do that, so his letters consist of nothing, little pile of letters, and he's ran into about a few thousand anyway. He's taken about 4,000 off us. But this fourth solicitor, 400,000 worth of his letters mounts to as much as the second solicitor, right? That we have had from him. A same small pile, but it's worth 400,000 because he's kept all the defendant's documents, or never sent us one single document, right? And is this legal? Can a solicitor just go ahead? Could you have a plumber that just goes ahead in your damn kitchen, put whatever he wants without asking you? I have this cooker, I have this fridge, I have this American style bloody God knows what. Is it legal? This is what I want to know, shouldn't he communicate with the claimant? After all, the claimant is the one who's going to have to pay for it, even though he thinks the defendant is going to pay for him. That is why they have this mentality. That is why they are buddies with the defendant, because they have a mentality with a case that, like ours, that they've accepted liability from the beginning. They think the the defendants will pay them, but yet when they come to frighten us with this 400,000, and why on earth didn't our solicitor have after the event insurance? Is that another legal thing, to threaten somebody with a head injury and then never bothered to get an after event insurance? But what I can't understand is, we have a small little pile of papers, and to me that represents 400,000, and when he sends his estimation of what the total cost is, the bills for he's asking this and he's asking that and he's asking, but he's never asked us at all. He's never communicated with us one little bit. And is this legal again within our legal system? We just shouldn't tolerate from it. And I need, if could somebody tell me which MP or minister in Parliament that we have to confront this with? Because this needs to be taken to the very top. This sort of behavior to somebody with a head injury is just not acceptable. They've dragged this case for 5 years so they can make their 400,000 plus another 10 or 15,000 from the first solicitor, plus another 5 or whatever thousand from the second solicitor. That is not counted. This 400,000 is just for this third solicitor. This little pile of papers. I just think, there is something really corrupted going on. I can't stress this anymore, but as far the way the legal system go, where solicitors, QCs will only work for solicitors, that should be illegal, totally illegal. That is another, tells you, wake up. It tells you that our system is corrupted, because the whole thing is engineered from A to Z, riddled with corruption. When you look at it, why won't after the events insurance company sell their insurance to their claimant? Why can't you go and employ your own QC? I'm sure Fired had gone and employed his own QC, so then it tells you there is a element of corruption there. And again, I need to stress, where this court when you go to court, that the files, in court, I believe that it all should be surrendered to the claimants when the case is over. And I can't see how can in a legal system that is not done. Why should a corrupted solicitor keep all the files? And you've got to go through and pay for all this damn thing that is already created. It's pathetic, and I think that is another thing we need to look if we want to improve our legal system. So all these people don't hate us all over the world, because God knows what corruption is going on out there. We can't, straighten our own corruption up.